Hey, Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, of course, we're just going to go over that sideways action, the chop on the Bitcoin chart, as well as the stock market. Guys, you can see that we do just have a mixed day, some profit taking on the pumps that we've been having, as well as of yet, a healthy pullback. But we'll see where that goes, whether or not we got rejections or whether we're just doing healthy pullbacks. But you do see the stock market is taking back some of its gains that it made earlier this week. If we just jump over to the chart, we can see that chop to the side. I don't see any trend, guys. Even this, low over here, it's actually higher on the professional exchange, and so this is a lower low on the professional exchanges. But on the 24/7 exchanges, this is a higher low because of this wick down here. So it's a very confusing market right now. We have to look at all these things like the dollar and all of that. So, just for truth in advertising, let's go ahead and take a look at what I was saying for the dollar itself. Let's see if this will work here. We do have this diagonal support, which does correspond to the current price at which we've dropped, and we do seem to be putting in a little bit of a bottoming structure potentially on the 4 hour there. So we do have to watch to see if this thing does turn around and make a higher low, in which case, the dollar could still be on an uptrend and could still potentially meet that 118, perhaps even 120 price point, which would just completely destroy markets. Guys, we do have this drop thanks to so here I'm just talking about the basic structure of the dollar. Of course, everyone thought that we were just going to pump to heaven. Yesterday, I don't know. Whenever we get like a little tiny bit bullish, like people just come out of the woodworks. These cowards who are afraid to actually take a position or to say anything about charts, and they start like talking about all the bears or all the bulls, or they start like putting each other down because they get really brave when it goes in the direction that they just want it to go. Maybe they're over investors, something like that, and so they just start bashing other guys. Guys, we're just moving by a couple $100. Like, chill out, okay? Like, this is like just crabbing to the side, and it's just ridiculous. And so what I was saying is like, guys, like everyone's getting super bullish, but if you look at what the dollar is actually doing, every time we've hit this trend line that I have here, we just pump off of it. Pump, all right? Pump, 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 right? And you guys saw the video where I was, pointing this out. And of course, we just barely had one blue candle there, and so it was almost nothing. And people just thought that like this whole chart is going to just turn around on a dime. And I was trying to show that there's this structure that still has the possibility to go forward. And so we are going to have to deal with this. Of course, I can move this over now. And you can see, is this going to be a bull flag that takes us even higher and just dumps this market as we scare the living bejesus out of people, reapproaching that 114 mark, potentially to break it to head towards 118, right? And that would just destroy markets absolutely. Or is this going to be just kind of a fake out bounce, right? Maybe we get a nice turnaround like this, and then we just keep going and just break down finally and getting into a real type of a topping pattern. Even if we do get a topping pattern, I do think it would have to chop it out for several months because that's just the modus operandi of the good old DXY US dollar over there. So nothing too definitive going on in the in the dollar chart, but we are in that area that is very pumpy, and we are getting that type of pump that I did predict when we were just like on these candles back here. So, guys, sorry to be the bearer of bear news, but I nailed that one. So, boom. Guys, let's go ahead and check out the VIX. VIX is just kind of hovering around, so it's not really doing anything too interesting from my perspective. We can draw a trend line on that also. And, if we include this bounce right here, then we haven't broken down on the VIX or anything. So, it's just too early to be bullish, guys. Like, we really have to break down on the dollar and the VIX to be bullish. Now, I could be generous and just ignore this kind of, breakdown right here. Maybe that was some type of a fake out, but still, we're in a pretty bouncy area for the VIX as well. And so if this does end up not breaking down, but popping up, then of course that would bode poorly for trading, as we would be back in the heart of the not good for trading area, potentially on our way to hell, right? But on the other hand, if we do break down from this trend line, then that would be pretty good for trading. And so, guys, there's a review of the dollar and the VIX for some volatility, the things that could go against us. Now, I'm not sure why somebody did give me a thumbs down on this video, but guys, I nailed it on that call. So, not sure what the thumbs down was about. Was that just you were hopeful that we would keep going up in the markets and that the dollar would keep breaking down? Not sure, but if you ever want to leave some feedback, words are easier for me to understand rather than thumbs. I don't understand what thumbs mean, really. So, guys, let's also take a look at what I was saying about Bitcoin. And so what we're really dealing with is the shorter second boss, which is that blue line that I've been pointing out. And of course, we've just been getting rejected, 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 from this line. And are we going to be getting rejected again, or are we going to be able to push through it? Well, that remains to be seen. I'd like to have us put in a couple 4-hour candles at a minimum because of how long this downtrend is. I'd love to see a daily candle close outside of that downtrend before I really think that it's been busted. But so here we go, a day ago or whatever, I was telling you guys, like, don't count your chickens before they're hatched, right? Like, of course, we did break this downtrend on Bitcoin. Well, we basically punctured a hole in the downtrend, but you can't get too excited for just these type of wicks. So if we go ahead and just pull up the Bitcoin chart over here, and let's see, what do I have here? We had our macro downtrend. You can see that we definitely escaped our macro downtrend. So something's cooking, right? Like something's cooking. That's why people are getting so excited. But what I've been saying is that for months and months and months, we actually haven't been dealing with this macro downtrend at all. The boss that we've been dealing with is boom, this guy, right? The second boss who just is constantly just causing us to be rejected, 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 right? And again, guys, again, rejected, right? And a hard rejection right there. Just a lot of people feeling very sour about this because we did get that very intriguing, right, candle close outside of that downtrend, which would have suggested that not only, right? Not only did we beat this macro downtrend, right? But also that we had the potential that we could be beating that kind of midterm downtrend. And so, people were getting very excited. They were already going just, full long positions. All the leverage was to the moon. And of course, the market makers just dropped us down in the very next candle. I am on 4-hour candles, and so this is highly significant to what I was saying. in that video, right? Which was that I needed to see a couple 4-hour candles print above that line, and preferably a daily. So truth in advertising, guys, that's what my conditions were for some type of a confirmation of a breakout. And guess what? It was invalidated. And so that was also a great call by the Alpha Commission. So boom, guys, right? Like we have to pay attention to conditions, validations, and then confirmations, right? And if anything goes wrong in that process, then of course we just move on to the next concept, right? It doesn't matter, if people are calling to the moon or calling for us to dump to, $1,000 or something like that. Like those calls are all garbage if you don't have conditions, validations, and then confirmations. And of course, that's what I'm setting up for us guys over here so that we can absolutely kill it in this market. And then let's see, what else was I talking about in this last episode. Basically, let's see here. Wow, they all align right here. All of them except for the 7 day. That's incredible. They all align at that level. That's incredible. Okay, guys. So this is just the clearest reading I've ever had on these on this strategy so far, which is that we really, really need to hold 19,000. 550. Just everything agrees with it. And of so there you have it, guys. My conditions for bullishness, 19,550 based upon this video. And so again, like just truth in advertising, just trying to have a transparency here, right? Because a lot of people claim that they said they did this, or a lot of people try to brag on, these type of YouTubes and all those things. So I just want to hold myself accountable for the things that I'm saying. And of course, the condition for bullishness that I had was not only that we would have to close a couple 4-hour candles outside of this macro downtrend, right? But also that we would have to close, a daily candle or at least a couple 4-hour candles above 19,550. And we just totally failed to do that. In fact, if we go ahead and put on the good old alpha momentum pools, right, you can see that exactly where we broke down from that level, guys, just boom, right? We just like sank to the bottom of the momentum pool there. And of course, we did get another life, off of this kind of mid-level support that we have here, that kind of free Mario life that, because, crypto is basically just a video game, right, guys? Just billionaires keep putting quarters in and just keep pumping this thing to see if they can get to the next level. But we did then play around with the bottom of the momentum pool. Of course, we did not close the day. All right, we did not close the day above this critical level. We did not put in a couple 4-hour candles or a daily candle close above these critical levels that I suggested. And so, my signals there for that bullish bias were invalidated. And so you can kind of consider this no man's land, but you do see that we had a lot of heavy wicks in the bearish area that I assigned for us. And so having touched that area, you would have just suggested, I mean, it was basically suggesting that we would go down to at least the next support level. And so there you have it, guys. Once again, the momentum pools doing their job, being your friendly guide in this market. And while I did hope that we would chop it out just a little bit more and maybe even get on top of that diagonal for this week, it just looks like it wasn't in the cards. And, the beautiful thing about these momentum pools is that you can see instantaneously the behavior of this area, and then you can know where to get critically worried, and of course, where also to consider your bullish positions for perhaps a longer term. And we didn't really close too far under there. Actually, I think we can just go ahead and throw on the daily because we are on the 4 hour, and you will see a little bit clearer what I'm talking about here. Where, of course, this is when the day was starting, and then we did just kind of wick up here, and then but we never really had a candle close above the momentum zone. We only had these kind of like 4 hour wicks or whatever, and you can see that the body of the candle was actually fully within my momentum zone. And even this next day candle, right, today, essentially today's candle is losing that momentum zone. And so, of course, this momentum zone has done its job for the day. This critical level that I had set here has done its job for the day. And so let's go back to 4 hours to get a little bit more detail. And so we can just delete these ones, and they should be updated with a new set of momentum zones. And you can probably already tell that we are just not meeting those critical levels. So the importance of 19,550 can't be understated, because we did actually have this condition 2 days in a row. And we also have a huge gap between the 2 to 5 day projection that I make and the daily momentum pool that that's valid for the day. And what do we see right off the bat? Well, we are, closing candles underneath that momentum pool. And so, guys, what does this tell you? What have I taught you about my momentum pool strategy, right? Well, if we're underneath the pool, it's kind of like we've drowned, right? We've drowned. And so this is a very sad picture. Aw, the guy, the swimmer, has drowned. He couldn't get any air, and so of course this does suggest a continuation to the downside. And if we do put up the signals that I had, of course, you can see that we are threatening that bearish bias. And so I will have to update these zones. And to do that, let's go ahead and just check out our momentum. Of course, I track all types of different momentum. And so I will want to see what's going on here. And let's go ahead and take off these signals. Let's see the weekly. So our 9 did come down, and let's see, what's our local structure looking like here? Okay, that's above that local. And so I can bring the condition for uber bullishness down. Now I think if we meet 19,960, then I'm going to be very bullish for this market. Why? Because if we get above the 9 weekly, right, that suggests that we could bounce as high as the 21 weekly, because price action tends to bounce between the 9 and the 21. So we get above that 9 weekly, I'm going to start getting a little bit excited, even more excited if we get above this 200 weekly simple moving average, because the squeeze play here would be just amazing to the upside. But you can see we're pretty far away from that right now. So nothing to be excited about at the moment. Nevertheless, that's our uber bullish level. Guys, let's see. Where was that level? The 19,550 is still our critical level to meet. You can see that we just have all sorts of momentum, piled up there, right? These are just overlapping. And so still we have 19,550 as the level that we need to beat in order to be bullish. And of course, we could pump, a little bit up and down, but I'm not going to be bullish on this market unless we're above 19,550. That is a critical level for me. And then let's see, what else is my momentum telling me here? I think that I can just leave this momentum, this bearish momentum right here as well, because we do have some daily momentum loss at that level. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I think we can front run that at this price. So maybe we have a little bit extra buffer room between our momentum pool here and this bearish bias, but it doesn't look too good, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at the oh no level. And yeah, I mean, this is hmm. No, I think that we can front run this probably at 18,860 there, right? Like if we lose 18,860, then I'm going to be uber bearish, guys, like very bearish. So there we go. There's an update for your levels and your key levels to watch for Bitcoin. Just I would be very bearish underneath 18,860. I'm bearish underneath 19,220, bullish above 19,550, and very bullish above 19,960. And guys, I do have a couple projections that I've put on the screen. And, I was expecting us to actually have a pullback into this region when we first got rejected right here, because this mid-level has been pretty significant on this blue rejection zone in terms of how wicks and the top of these structures are formed. Now they do tend to just die, right? They do tend to just fall over and just die from there. So of course I'm not bullish unless we're over 19,550. Like, I don't think that this bullish trajectory is likely to work out. But I would suggest that, past results aren't necessarily a prediction of the future. And so if we do pump off of this kind of midline, you can see this dashed line here, right? If we pump off of that midline, and to break through that downtrend and get above that bullish bias, then I would suggest that we could potentially do something like this and maybe even pop up into this uber bullish area. And that would be the kind of wave that I would be looking for. On the other hand, if we pop up to the top here and get rejected once again on our downtrend, then I would suggest that most likely we're going to break through this mid-level and maybe just get kind of hung up on this kind of a yellow level right here that's consistent with the bottom of this range. What is that, like 18,650-ish, 18,675-ish, right? And so that might be a little bit of a stop. Um, Probably because we're underneath my oh no level, right? Oh no, right? Probably we're going to continue to the downside if we do end up putting in some price action down there. And if it's not just a clean wick with a lot of buy pressure that pushes us back up above this critical oh no level, then I would expect us to have continuation to the downside. So there you go, guys. That's my momentum assessment. Of course, we do also want to just double check our volatility. And of course, on the 4 hour, just kind of meandering around. Let's look at the daily. Daily, it's still on the floor, but I don't see any type of conclusion to this yet. So we are just consolidating right now. Let's go ahead and look at the 2 day. 2 day, same issue. So it looks a little bit sideways to me at the moment. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly, can't really tell what's going on there. Let's look at the 5 day. 5 day is also very interesting. It's coming to the floor. So I should be looking at the daily, the 2 day, and the 5 day volatility primarily to see how they all sync up together. And perhaps the daily and the 2-day are waiting for this 5-day signal. Not sure, but the 5-day can have some significance, especially because of the professional exchanges trading primarily on the 5 business days. Let's go ahead and just pop out here, see what we can see on the good old RSI there in terms of bullish divergences. That already did kind of play out. Let's go ahead and take a look at the daily. Many drives of a bullish divergence coming out of this bearish control zone, but we are just kind of middling, so I can't really tell from this. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 2-day. Ooh, the 2-day is very interesting. This is, several drives of bullish divergence coming out of the bearish control zone. And if we can hold on to this EMA, that could be something worth watching. Um, in the past, we have had these type of pumps that just take us, pretty huge distances. So yeah, I am gonna watch this drive here, and just out of curiosity, let's see what the 3 days got. 3-day actually has more bearish than bullish. Not really sure that's significant since we did have a retracement. But let's look at the 4-day just out of curiosity. Oh, the 4-day is interesting. I've rarely looked at the 4-day, but we do have a very interesting kind of bottom here on this RSI, making a higher low and also a little bit of a higher high implied. A little bit of a kind of pennant here, but we are catching the top of the EMA, so that could suggest a pump. Interesting to look at the 4-day. I've never really checked out the 4-day before. I'm curious to see what the 4-day volatility looks like, considering the 5-day. And yeah, we do have the 4-day volatility also pinching off here. And so it is even more in line with the 2-day and the daily than the 5-day. And so maybe that 4-day is trying to give me a signal as well. I am going to keep on top of the 4-day volatility, because that looks like something that could be potentially explosive. Now, unfortunately, that could be to the upside or to the downside. Right now, it's pointed in an up direction, but it is curling down. So, we do have to close above 18,911 for that signal to be valid to the upside. And that does more or less correspond with my oh no levels that I've assigned here from our momentum. So if you just can get a picture of that, these signals here, so that does correspond with my oh no level. And so if we do breach that oh no level before this signal comes to a close and reaches approximately 10% or so, then with an upward curving angle, then this 4-day volatility could disastrously point us in a downward direction. However, if we are above that $18,900 level, when this thing pinches shut, then that could suggest potentially an explosive move to the upside. So, guys, for the time being, I am going to have to just suggest that 18,900 is a floor that we really don't want to violate in this market for the coming perhaps couple weeks. So be on the lookout for that. If we do start getting under 18,900, that could be potentially disastrous. Okay, guys. So that 4-day signal can't be like a joke. That's a huge time scale. Even the 1-day signals are very powerful. So a 4-day signal having this kind of high volatility, right? That's a major thing. Let's see, this episode is getting pretty long, to be honest. So we've talked about some structure there. We looked at our volatility. We looked at our momentum. Let's go ahead and just throw on our EMAs just to see what we look like right now. And let's see, I can turn this stuff off. What is this? Macro downtrend. All right. And let's turn off those momentum pools as well. And you can see that on the 4 hour, just kind of sideways looking right now. The 9 EMA is pointed to the downside, which isn't good. You want to see this thing start flattening out or, a kind of curling to the upside in order to get the potential for a squeeze between the 4 and the 9 EMA. We're just not having that, so nothing that I can really tell you in terms of bullishness. There's a significant chance that we could get squeezed back to the downside off of this type of double negative orientation here. So already the 4 hour is starting off on the wrong foot, which does suggest to me that the daily is, I mean, the daily is just going to look like junk. And absolutely, this looks pretty terrible. You can see, even if our 21 kind of flattens out, our 9 is pointed down. Well, let me take that back. This actually does look like it's overall flattening out. So does this one. Yeah, I mean, there could be a potential for some type of a squeeze coming up in the next couple days. If we can get above 19,300, so that's pretty much in line with that 19,550 level I was talking about. And in fact, that would probably be what you need to have just to guarantee that the 9 EMA curls up. So as you can see, my momentum theory and EMAs are agreeing with each other. And so, guys, just that daily volatility could explode us to the downside if we're not careful. And then that could lead to the 2 day exploding downward, and that could lead to the 4 day exploding downward. And we could have a chain of events that are significantly bad if we don't get above, those that critical area of 19,550. That's just seeming to be so important. All of my momentums are pointing to that level. And so, guys, there you have it. There's your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.